Okay, Simon Townsend's Wonderworld, episode number 364-4, XD0537, recorded the 5th of the 11th, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne and Adelaide.
Welcome to my Wonder World. In most bands, you usually find musical instruments of some kind, as well as a lead singer and some backup singers, right? Well, today's first story is all about a group which is made up of 5 lead singers with no musical instruments. Sounds a bit weird. Wait till you've heard them. They're called the Phones, and their kind of music is called a cappella. It's Italian for in the church style or without accompaniment. And these days, a cappella is not necessarily sung in the church style, as the Phones are about to show you. Here's my wondrous reporter, Carolyn Me.
I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window. I saw that flickering shadow of love on her brow. She was my woman. As she deceived me, I watched and went out of my heart.
If you want to hear some great music, all you have to do is call the Phones.
You call?
I could see that girl was no good for me. But I was lost like a slave that no man could free. Till I lost.
The Phones are a group of a cappella singers, which means they sing without musical accompaniment. Their voices are arranged like instruments. There's
Reg on bass.
Stephen on baritone.
Matthew on tenor.
Moira on tenor.
Trevor on countertenor.
Potion number, la, potion number, la. I took my troubles down to Madame Ruth.
You know that gypsy with the gold cap too.
a cappella is Italian for inner chapel. This type of music began back in the Middle Ages. The term applied to choral or choir music without accompaniment. Yeah! Your music certainly has an unusual ring to it, doesn't it?
That's been said.
Yeah,
We've heard that before.
I suppose.
The problem is we get all these really bad jokes about our name, you see. And,
all the
We're very engaging.
Yeah.
5 ugly dials.
The 2 original members of the band, Reg and Trevor, used to perform one of the more traditional forms of a cappella singing, the madrigal. This is a form of 17th century popular music. You must get a lot of people in the audience asking for extensions.
Oh, what a ding-a-ling.
Do you write these jokes? Or my Sharona,
oh, my little pretty one, my pretty one. When you gonna give me some time, Sharona? Oh, you make my motor run, my motor run. Keep it coming up for the line, Sharona. Never gonna stop, give it up. Such a dirty man, always get it up. For the top of the younger kind, my.
Well, the Phones are certainly singing all the right numbers, so I'm not about to hang up.
They're terrific. The jokes are wicked. Don't go away now, because I'll be right back to tell you how to keep your pet pooch perky and in the pink. The diver can photograph the white pointer shark from the safety of the steel cage. Today is Record Breaker, and it's Shane Bannerman. He writes, "Dear Simon, I reckon this stick insect, which I found on our barbecue, must break some kind of record. It's so big. I had a good look at it, and then I let it go." Good on you, Shane. Sure is a mighty big stick insect, and they can give you quite a nasty nip too. Well, I have the Guinness Book of Records for you, which I'll post out to you, Shane. Have a look at this. This is Tiger. He's the world's heaviest cat. And just take a look at this fat feline. He weighed 19.5 kilos at his peak. I think they must have had to put him on wheels to get him around. Isn't he gigantic? Are you thinking of buying a dog? Well, think long and hard before you do, because if you want a happy and well-adjusted pooch to share your life, then you have to choose carefully which breed of dog you want. And then you have to spend hours training it carefully and thoughtfully. Puppies are just like children in some ways. If they're treated well and disciplined when necessary, then they usually grow up happy and loving. Now here's Hugh Munro to tell you about the ups and downs and the ins and outs of bringing up a puppy.
Choosing the right dog from the hundreds of different species available can be really hard work. And keeping them nice and happy and healthy can be even harder work. Oh.
Love is in your eyes, and someone's got a hold to right now.
This is Bimby. She's an Old English sheepdog, and believe it or not, she's a puppy. Now, a healthy puppy will always have loose skin, an inquisitive look, and bright eyes, and most importantly, a clean bottom. If your puppy doesn't have a clean bottom, then usually they're a bit unhealthy.
Love is in your eyes.
This is called rough play, and it's very good for your dog if you do this with it, but you must use an object such as a ball or a bone. But if you just use your hands, then you're training them to bite when they get older, and they could bite people's hands. Here, go and fetch. Dogs become used to playing with whatever you give them, so it's best to use dog products like this beef hide bone or this scented nylon bone. Anything else, and you could eventually end up with problems. This is your standard poodle. All dogs need to be groomed, and they need to be groomed every day if they're long-haired. Now, when you've done everything you can possibly do for your dog, but it's still whining, all it's doing is trying to get attention. It's very important not to pamper it too much when it's like this. Otherwise, it'll know that by whining, it can get your attention. So you have to be just as stubborn as the dog. Just about anything can upset your dog, but worms are one of the worst things that can really upset your dog. How do you treat worms?
Well, you've got to give them either a suspension, such as this sort of thing. You shake it up well, and it tastes of chocolate, so of course dogs like it like kids do, and that's for the little puppies. And then for the bigger ones, you use a worm tablet, which is for hookworms and roundworms, because they can actually be born with those, and they can be a killer.
How do you get a dog to take tablets?
It's a good idea to use one at a time, because if you push a lot down, they all seem to fly out the side. Now, if you put your thumb behind the big fang tooth, there are only little baby teeth in this dog, behind the fang tooth, no, you let go a minute, and then just pop it down like that.
This is Joker, and on his choker is his registration, but even better, a dog tag with his name on it, Joker, and on the back, his owner's telephone number, so that when he's lost, he can be found.
A lot of good advice in that story. Coming up next, a story which will have you thinking that you're seeing double. What's the most famous road in Italy called? The answer is the Appian Way. For African nomads, camels are a symbol of wealth and status, never to be ridden. Ships of the desert. They call them the luckiest mums in the world. They're the mums who have multiple births, twins, triplets, quads, or even quintuplets. Now, they may be lucky mums having all their babies at once, but there's an awful lot of work that goes into looking after one baby, let alone 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 at once. For that reason, there's an organisation called the Australian Multiple Births Association, and every month they hold meetings so that mums who have had multiple births can get together to help each other with problems. Now, here's my reporter, Brett Clements, and I'm thanking my lucky stars that Mrs. Clements didn't have twins. I'd probably be stuck with 2 Bretts.
If you think you're seeing double, don't be alarmed, because these are all members of the Australian Multiple Birth Association. The association's been going for about 14 years. What's it all about?
It's a group of mothers who've had a multiple birth, which is twins, triplets or quads or more, getting together to exchange information.
Now, this is Carly and Michael. Carly, what do you like about Michael?
Well, he does play cubbies with me, and that's how I like him.
Right. And Michael, what do you like about Carly?
I like her when she plays cubbies with me.
What don't you like about Michael?
Stephen does pinch Michael, and Michael does pinch him back.
You don't fight with Stephen and pinch him, do you?
No. Yes, he does.
Yes, you do. Give Uncle Brett a kiss. I'm wonderful with animals and children. What do you like about looking like each other?
Being the same.
Being the same? What's good about being the same?
Because you can trick people all the time.
Oh, you can you? How do you do that?
Right, sometimes you have to switch clothes around and trick them like that.
Right.
Sometimes at our preschool, people call me Lowen and people call Lowen Erin.
Oh, right, they get mixed up. Is that fun then? You don't like that? What do you like about being involved in the association?
Oh, I think I like most of the contact with the other mums and finding out tips and information on maybe how to getting them to sleep through the night.
I like being able to talk to other triplet mothers.
The association has a lot of information that's fed back through newsletters and things like that, especially for twins in school.
1 in every 100 births are twins, 1 in every 10,000 are triplets, and 1 in every 250,000 are quads. Do they get better attention than you, or do you get better attention than them, or do you all get treated equally?
Treated equally, I'd have to say.
You'd have to say that? And how old are you all? 7. We rehearsed that. This is Emily and Ross. Now, Emily and Ross are twins, but they're not identical twins. Do you feel that you're handicapped because of that?
Yeah.
I know. It's horrible, isn't it?
3s and 4s, great kids. Today's music clip now, and it comes from a group with an unusual name. They are called Hollywood Beyond, and although you don't see a lot of this band, the clip is quite mysterious and colourful. This is Hollywood Beyond. It's called The Colour of Money. I like it. Right, today's Newshound now, and today it's Lachlan Smith, and he reports to me, Simon, when I grow up, I'm going to be an Iron Man just like Grant Kenny. Here's a picture of me training on the beach at Coolangatta. Great. Nothing like starting young, Lachlan. And don't you give up. I've got some gifts for you for being today's Newshound. This is a backseat driver. It comes from a company called Crown and Andrews. And this is such a great idea for keeping kids happy in the car or even at home. It works like this. This bottom rod here is in place if you're sitting on a chair, say, or a seat or on the floor. And if you're in the car, this rod here with this suction cup connects onto the window. And you've also got an ignition key and indicators and windscreen wipers, and everything moves. It's terrific. You'll have great fun with this, Lachlan, I'm sure, from Crown and Andrews. And from the company called Metro, this is Wrinkles. And this little fellow is not only a cuddly soft toy, but he's also a puppet. You put your hand in the back here and you can make him talk like this. like that somehow. And here's something else. This is from Nelson. It's a wonderful book. It's called Sticky Beak. And it's a funny story all about a kid who brings back home a pet duck which causes havoc throughout the house. And as you can see from this example, the illustrations are really, really good. Hope you enjoy all of that. Stay tuned, and I'll be back right after this short break with a sport almost as beautiful to watch as ballet.
Can I have your attention, please? If you want Simon to return your letter and photo, you must enclose a second envelope with your name and address and its own stamp on it. Got that, class? One envelope with Wonderworld's address, and to put in another envelope with your name and your address and its own stamp. Class?
What does a ball, a hoop, a long ribbon, a wooden club and a skipping rope What do they all have in common? Well, they're all used in the sport of rhythmic gymnastics, and this graceful sport combines elements of dance with skills only acquired after many hours of practice. The sport originated in Russia, but it's popular all over the world now, and some of the movements these gymnasts invent with their various pieces of equipment are absolutely breathtaking to watch. Here's Wednesday Kennedy.
These talented young girls are the official New South Wales representatives. This sport, which has only been going on in Australia for the past 8 years, is for girls only. Sorry, guys. Rhythm gymnastics is a cross between juggling, gymnastics and ballet. It originated in Russia in the 1930s, and since then it's become a very popular sport worldwide. And Australia is lucky enough to have one of the world's best coaches.
Soft, soft, soft. From the middle of your body. In the middle of your body, and tight now. Tight.
Ileana Volgelia came to Australia in October '83 as the full-time national coach for rhythm gymnastics. She's also been the national coach of Romania for rhythm gymnastics and coached the national team in the USA.
Up.
The girls have all had some training in physical culture or dance, but they've only been training in rhythm gymnastics for 1 year, and already they're Australian champions. The girls train 4 or 5 times a week, and before a competition it is intensive daily training. The training includes classical ballet and other various styles of dance, as well as training with the clubs, hoops, ropes, balls and ribbons. To be a champion at rhythm gymnastics, you have to be flexible, have balance, expression, highly perfected dance techniques, and be able to move the body and apparatus as one. What made you decide that you wanted to get into rhythmic gymnastics?
Oh, it seemed like such an interesting and new sport.
And a new challenge, and it seemed like a lot of fun.
I saw it on TV and it was really good.
Yeah. So you're all aged between 11 and 13 years of age, and you're Australian champions. What's that like, being a champion?
It feels great to be up there winning gold, and there's a long, long way to go before we reach the Olympics or an Olympic champion.
So you feel confident?
Yes!
Isn't that great? Well, that's it for another show, but before I go, I'd like to introduce you to a little mate of mine. This is Ronnie, and he is a 4-week-old emu. Doesn't he look great? Emus are native Australian birds, of course, but they cannot fly, but they sure can move pretty fast. I've got to hold him tightly round the legs here. Their powerful legs can run them across flat areas that up to speeds of up to 40 kilometres an hour. And in about 2 years' time, Ronnie will be nearly 2 metres high, and that makes them second in size to the ostrich, which of course comes from Africa. But emus are found all over Australia except Tasmania, and they eat fruit and vegetables, don't you, mate? And they like insects, of course. And I guess they're famous around the world because one of these, an emu, appears with a kangaroo on Australia's coat of arms. And the reason those two animals are on the coat of arms is because symbolically they can't go backwards. They can't actually move their feet in a backwards motion. And it's symbolic of Australia going forward. I bet you didn't know that. Ronnie lives in the nursery at Taronga Zoo, where he's the centre of attention, and no wonder. He's so cute. It all goes to show, doesn't it, Ronnie, eh? That the world really is wonderful, even for little emus. Bye-bye.
Let me tell you of an interview with an old man emu. He's got a beak and feathers and things, but the poor old fella ain't got no wings. I'm too jealous of the wedge-tailed eagle and ba-da-da-da-da-da, while the eagle's flying round and round to keep her 2 feet firmly on the ground. Now I can't fly, but I'm telling you, I can run the pants of a kangaroo.
How does an intruder get into a house? In through the window.